Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. Thanks everyone for tuning into Everything AI today.
Great to be here.
So, we're tackling something that I think for a lot of people feels, incredibly complex, maybe even a bit intimidating. It often seems like this whole world of artificial intelligence, AI, is kind of locked away for programmers or like data scientists or these massive companies with just huge budgets.
Right, the barrier seems really high.
But what if everything we've been digging into in our source materials suggests that you could harness some, well, incredibly powerful AI tools right now, like today, without writing a single line of code?
That's really the core revelation, isn't it? From the articles and research we looked at for this deep dive, they paint this picture of a burgeoning landscape of no-code AI tools.
Okay.
And they really highlight how these tools are making it possible for, well, basically anyone to automate pretty significant parts of their daily life and their professional work.
And that's exactly our mission for this deep dive. We want to pull out the key stuff, the most important nuggets from this material to really show you how accessible and, frankly, how useful these tools are.
Yeah.
The goal is that by the end of this, you'll feel informed, maybe even empowered to potentially give some of these a try yourself.
And what's really striking is how dramatically this just lowers that technical barrier.
Yeah.
The one that used to, guard access to AI automation.
Totally. So let's start right there. The material we reviewed, it kicks off by defining exactly what no-code AI is.
Essentially, yeah. It's presented as these platforms built with incredibly user-friendly interfaces.
Okay.
We're talking about interacting with AI capabilities through really simple actions, like typing instructions, dragging and dropping things, or just clicking buttons.
So no coding involved?
None at all.
Yep.
Completely bypasses that need for traditional programming knowledge.
And why is this sudden accessibility such a big deal then? What makes this whole no-code movement significant, according to our sources?
Well, the first big point is just that accessibility itself. It basically throws open the doors to AI automation for, like, anyone, regardless of their technical background.
Right.
It's a real democratization of a powerful technology.
Which the sources suggest leads directly into speed.
Exactly. Yeah. Speed's the next one.
They highlight how you can launch complex workflows or, build websites, set up solutions in hours, not weeks.
Right. It's a fundamental acceleration of what's possible, especially for individuals and small teams, compressing that development time significantly.
Wow.
And then there's the affordability aspect. Can't forget that. Many of these tools, they offer free tiers or, pretty low-cost subscriptions. That makes them actually viable for individuals, startups, smaller businesses, people who just couldn't afford custom development or that expensive enterprise software before.
So it's making AI automation fast, affordable, and genuinely usable by pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
That really does feel like a huge shift, enabling people to leverage these capabilities in ways they just couldn't before.
It totally changes the scale of who can use AI and the range of problems they can actually tackle on their own.
Okay, so what does this look like in practice? The material we explored gets into specifics, right? It lists some actual tools you could start using right now.
It does, yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think, because you see these concepts actually applied.
Yes, the sources provide a great rundown. They start with Zapier AI.
Okay, Zapier. I know Zapier connects different apps together, doesn't it? Automates workflows between them. How does the AI layer fit in with that no-code approach?
So Zapier is all about creating those automated workflows between apps, using that visual interface, right? The sources give the classic example. A form submission automatically triggers actions like sending a message in Slack, creating a task in Notion, emailing a summary, stuff like that.
Got it.
The no-code AI parts that they highlight is that Zapier now has these built-in AI features you can just drop into those workflows.
Oh, interesting.
So you can use the AI within a Zap, as they call it, to, say, summarize the text from that form submission, maybe draft an email response based on it, or even make a simple decision about where the info should go next.
And you do that just by clicking and typing?
All just by configuring it through clicks and prompts in their interface. No code needed.
That's fascinating, embedding intelligence right into the automation setup itself. Okay, what's next on the list from the sources?
Next up is Notion AI. This one is highlighted as being particularly useful for writers, students, project managers.
Right. Notion itself is that super flexible workspace tool, kind of like a catch-all for documents, notes, project management. How does the AI work in a no-code way there?
Well, the sources describe it as being integrated directly into their document interface. It's pretty seamless.
Okay.
You basically interact with it just by typing a command, like A, or selecting an option from a menu that pops up.
What can it do?
Things like automatically summarizing meeting notes you've just written, or generating initial drafts of blog posts from just bullet points you give it, or even brainstorming ideas right there in your document.
Handy.
Yeah, and it also helps with structuring things. It uses templates to generate task plans or like project timelines just based on a prompt you type in.
Okay, cool. Let's shift gears a bit towards creative work. The material mentions Runway ML. What is that generally, and how does its AI function in this no-code way?
Right. Runway ML is primarily a creative tool focused on video and imagery.
ML, machine learning.
Yeah, the ML stands for machine learning. But the key point our sources make is that you don't actually need to understand the underlying tech.
Gotcha.
Its no-code interface lets you do things that honestly used to require really complex software or pretty serious technical skills.
Like what?
For example, easily removing the background from video footage with just a click. Or, get this, generating entirely new video clips like B-roll footage, simply by typing a text description of what you want.
Whoa, generating video from text just by typing. That's pretty wild.
It is. And the sources even note it's being used in professional productions, like actual music videos and short films, precisely because it makes these advanced effects so much more accessible.
Incredible. Okay, what about working with audio? Like for us, doing podcasts or for video voiceovers?
For that, the sources point to Descript. It's called out as being incredibly valuable for podcasters and YouTubers.
Okay, Descript.
At its core, Descript takes your audio or your video recording and automatically creates an editable transcript.
An editable transcript. How is that a no-code AI feature, and how does it help?
Well, the no-code magic is how you interact with your audio or video. Instead of messing around with a complex audio waveform editor, right?
Yeah, those can be tricky.
The sources explain you literally edit the transcript like it's a Word doc.
Seriously?
Yeah. If you delete words or sentences in the text, poof, it removes them from the actual audio or video. If you move paragraphs of text around, it rearranges the corresponding audio segments.
That sounds revolutionary for editing.
It really simplifies things, and the AI features enhance this even more. Like, you can automatically identify and let you remove all the filler words, the himmas with just a few clicks.
Oh, I need that.
We all do. And it can even generate a synthetic voice clone of your own voice, so you can actually type new sentences into the transcript, and it will speak them in your cloned voice.
Okay, that's slightly terrifying, but also amazing. Editing audio by editing text really simplifies a complex process. What if you have like a ton of long content, say a webinar, and you want to repurpose it quickly for social media?
Ah, good question. That's where Pictory is mentioned.
Pictory, okay.
It's described as a tool specifically designed to take long-form content like lengthy videos, webinars, even written articles, and automatically transform them into shorter, more engaging clips, the kind that work well on social media.
How does it do that?
The AI helps identify the key sentences or the most important moments, and it can automatically add subtitles and highlights with really minimal manual effort from you.
Making repurposing content way faster. Got it. And for building an online presence completely from scratch, like a website.
Yeah, for that, the sources highlight Durable.2 and also 10Web. They're examples of AI-powered website builders.
Okay.
And the no-code aspect here is incredibly strong. You typically just provide a short description of your business or, what you need the site for. And the AI generates a whole website structure. Homepage, about page, services page. It even suggests some initial text and finds relevant images.
Wow.
Then you can just jump in and customize it easily through a visual editor.
That takes the initial setup time from potentially days or weeks down to literally minutes. That's huge.
What about creating visual presentations, like slide decks?
For that, Tome Gamma are listed as tools leveraging AI for presentations.
Tome Gamma.
The way they work, according to the material, is you give the AI a prompt or maybe just an outline, and it builds out a complete presentation deck for you, often including design elements, suggested layouts for charts, even a narrative structure to follow. So it helps with the story and the look.
Exactly. Again, you interact just by typing and clicking, not by manually designing every single slide from scratch.
Okay, that covers a lot of ground. Finally, the sources also mention a tool that I think most people have probably heard of, and it fits here too, ChatGPT.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, the sort of general conversational AI assistant.
Right.
The material discusses its uses for things we were probably familiar with, summarizing big chunks of text, analyzing information, brainstorming ideas, or just acting as a general assistant you talk to by typing.
And the no-code aspect there, beyond just chatting with it.
A key no-code feature highlighted are the custom GPTs.
Ah, yeah.
This is where you can upload specific files like your own documents or give it really detailed instructions using just natural language. You basically tailor the AI for a very specific task or to use a specific knowledge base.
Without any traditional programming.
Exactly, just telling it what you want it to know or do.
Man, that list covers a huge range of applications. Video, audio writing, websites, presentations, general assistance. It really makes you wonder, though, with so many tools out there, how does someone even figure out which ones to use? Or, like, how to make them work together effectively?
And that's exactly where the material goes next. It suggests this idea of building your own no-code AI stack.
Stack, like stacking things up.
Yeah, the analogy they use is kind of like building with Lego bricks. You combine these individual tools together.
Combining them? You mean like creating a whole workflow using multiple tools?
Precisely, yeah. The sources actually provide a couple of specific examples of how you might strategically combine these tools, depending on your goals.
Okay, interesting. Tell me about the content creator stack they suggest. That sounds relevant.
Right. So for a content creator, the material outlines a potential stack using Descript, obviously, for simplifying the audio-video recording and editing part. Then maybe ChatGPT for quickly generating initial drafts of things like show notes or episode titles.
Okay.
Then Zapier AI to automatically handle tasks like posting the finished content or clips to social media.
Automating the distribution. Nice.
Yeah. And Pictory for easily creating those shorter social clips from the longer videos or audio.
Makes sense.
And finally, maybe Notion AI integrated into their workspace for planning out editorial calendars and tracking content ideas.
That paints a really clear picture, actually. A streamlined workflow from creation all the way through promotion and planning. What about for, say, a small business owner? What kind of stack might they build?
Good question. For a business owner, the material suggests a stack that might start with durable.co or 10web for just rapidly building a professional-looking website.
Get that online presence up quickly.
Exactly. Then, using Zapier to automate processes like collecting leads from contact forms on the site and maybe feeding them into a CRM system or just sending notifications.
Okay, lead management.
Right. Then ChatGPT could be used to help draft marketing copy or maybe customer newsletters.
Content generation.
And maybe Tome could assist in creating really compelling presentations for sales pitches or perhaps investor decks.
These examples really illustrate how you can kind of pick and choose and combine tools strategically based on your specific professional needs. Leverage their strengths together.
Yeah, it moves beyond just using one tool for one task. It's about building an interconnected system tailored to your actual objectives, and all through these easy-to-use interfaces.
And who is actually doing this? Who's putting these kinds of stacks or even just the individual tools to work today? The sources give some concrete, real-world use cases, right?
They do, yeah.
Right.
It highlights several professions that are already leveraging no-code AI pretty extensively.
Like who?
Well, we see coaches using AI tools to help generate course materials or maybe track client progress and goals.
Okay.
Writers, as we touched on, are finding significant value using Notion AI for brainstorming and structuring ideas and ChatGPT for drafting and refining content. It really speeds up that initial creative phase.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would accelerate the writing process.
Absolutely. Marketers are automating routine tasks like email sequences using tools like Zapier, and they're generating creative assets for campaigns with tools like Runway ML.
Using AI for creative generation. Cool.
Yeah. And even departments like HR teams are finding applications, using AI to, say, quickly screen resumes, summarize interview notes, or draft standard offer letters.
Those are all areas with potentially, repetitive and time-consuming tasks.
And that's really the key point the material emphasizes. These tools aren't just novelties. They are actively saving professionals hours and hours of manual work every single week.
Right.
In some cases, they can even eliminate the need to hire administrative or creative assistants by just automating those specific functions. It's really about boosting efficiency and productivity across many different roles and industries.
Okay, but with all this potential for efficiency and automation, there have got to be some things to watch out for, right? The material doesn't just paint a completely rosy picture, does it? It discusses some important pitfalls to be aware of.
Yes, absolutely. It includes some crucial cautions for using these tools effectively and responsibly.
Good. Like what?
Well, the first one is the risk of over-automation.
Okay.
While automating tasks is the goal, Automating everything without really thinking it through can sometimes lead to losing that necessary human touch or oversight, especially in areas like customer communication.
Right.
The sources really stress the importance of finding a balance there.
That's a really important consideration. You don't want every interaction to feel robotic or impersonal.
Exactly. Then there's something they call tool fatigue.
Tool fatigue.
Yeah. The advice is basically don't try and sign up for or learn every single new AI app you see out there.
Guilty.
Yeah, it's tempting. But it's much more effective to identify a specific problem you have and then find one or two tools that genuinely solve that problem, rather than just getting overwhelmed by too many options.
Right. Chasing the shiny new thing isn't always productive. Focus on the problem.
Exactly. Privacy and security are also flagged as critical.
Yeah, super important.
The sources issue a really clear warning. Never upload confidential or sensitive company data or personal data into these tools without thoroughly researching and understanding their privacy policies and their security protocols first.
Essential advice in this digital age. Seriously.
Definitely. And finally, they discuss dependence.
Dependence, like relying too much on the tools.
Sort of. It's wise to understand the manual process behind the automated task. Because if a tool experiences downtime, or maybe it changes its features significantly, or your subscription ends, you need to have a reliable fallback method, just to ensure continuity.
That makes sense. Have a plan B. These sound like really necessary considerations to keep in mind as you start exploring these tools. It's about being strategic and thoughtful in how you implement them.
Yeah, they frame these not as reasons to avoid using no-code AI, but really as vital factors for leveraging them effectively and sustainably over the long term. Responsible use, basically.
Got it. So taking all of this in the power, the accessibility, the potential pitfalls, where does the material suggest this whole no-code AI movement is heading? What's the future look like?
It points towards deeper integration. That seems to be the key theme.
Deeper integrations.
Yeah. The prediction is that these tools won't just be standalone apps for much longer. They'll increasingly integrate with your operating systems, your browsers, your devices, learning your preferences and workflows across all platforms.
Wow. So the AI wouldn't just be confined to a specific app you open, but it would be like actively assisting you across your entire digital environment.
That's the vision described, yeah. The sources suggest this trend is leading towards AI acting more and more like a truly personal assistant, tailored specifically to you, helping you in your browser, on your phone, and maybe even potentially in future immersive environments like VR or AR.
That scale of integration is pretty awe-inspiring to think about, actually.
It is, and it connects right back to that initial theme we talked about. Accessibility.
Right.
The closing thought in the material we reviewed is that this easy access to powerful AI capabilities is basically ushering in a world where anyone, truly anyone, can effectively have a personalized team of digital workers, assisting them in thinking, creating, automating tasks, growing their projects or businesses.
That idea, having your own personalized team of digital workers, that really ties together the whole journey we've taken in this deep dive, doesn't it? From breaking down that complexity barrier to seeing how these tools combine and now looking at where they might lead.
It really underscores the potential long-term impact of making these powerful technologies available without requiring those specialized technical skills. It's a big deal.
Well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive into no-code AI tools, all based on this really fascinating source material. We've broken down what they are, explored specific examples like Zapier AI, Notion AI, Runway ML, Descript, Pictory, Durable.co, 10web, Tome, Gamma, and ChatGPT. Quite a list.
Yeah, quite a few.
We looked at how you can combine them into powerful personal stacks for things like content creation or running a business.
Right, the Lego brick idea.
Exactly. We highlighted real-world use cases across different professions and, importantly, discussed those pitfalls to navigate for effective use.
The responsible side.
Right, all while looking towards a future where these tools become even more integrated and, well, personal.
And I think the material we reviewed makes a really compelling case for just how accessible and genuinely practical these tools are right now, not just some far-off future thing.
And that's the crucial takeaway we wanted to leave you with today. The aim wasn't just to, deliver information, but hopefully to provide you with a clear starting point, grounded in this source material to maybe explore some of these tools yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe even build something practical for your own life or your work.
And thanks again for tuning into Everything AI. We appreciate you being here.
Definitely. So, before we go, let's leave you with a final thought to consider, building on that look towards the future. If, as the sources suggest, AI is really moving towards becoming this personal team of digital workers tailored specifically to you and your needs. What's the single most impactful or maybe the most surprising thing you would task it with automating in your own life or work, based on everything we've discussed today?
That's a good question to ponder.
Something to mull over. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you feel inspired to start exploring this accessible world of no-code AI.
Absolutely. Until next time.
And please, if you found this useful, remember to subscribe to The Deep Dive wherever you get your podcasts. And maybe share this episode with anyone you think could benefit from understanding the power and, importantly, the accessibility of no-code AI.